Well, hello there. Welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. My light wasn't doing that when I started, but I am here with my wonderful, beautiful co-host, Christy Santiago.
Hello, Mac, my wonderful, beautiful co host, and our Lord and Savior, Nacho Witness, are here today on this beautiful hump day here in Florida. It was absolutely gorgeous today. I don't know about where anyone else. We have to take the wins where we get them, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, I just remember, I don't think, we haven't had a show, through all of March, right?
yes. I moved. We're in a whole new situation, much better, a much healthier situation.
That's the thing. And I realized that we might not have had a show in so long that did we get to mention that we've seen each other?
I know it was so great. It was so
Yeah.
great. I don't think you did. We had a lot of fun. Only just a little while, but it was a lot of fun.
What, like an hour, hour and a half?
Yeah.
It was a quick
With
visit, but huh?
every single kid, all the kids,
All of the kids.
all the
All of them.
kids. Yes,
I was trying to look for our picture for proof.
for proof.
I see
Pictures
your
didn't have.
pool. I see your
Yes.
pool. Oh yes. All
Yay.
right. That one's you licking my kid's face. That one's all right.
Kids are.
Here's me, my lovely wife, and my
Yeah,
lovely bed.
yes, I love it. It's so
So
cute.
there you guys go.
Look at.
There. Now you
I
know.
didn't get that we were supposed to wear hats. So
Yeah, she totally missed the memo. But we also missed the memo that we were supposed to have nice hair all the time. So
yeah, I know. I beat it into submission. That's all. It's not naturally the smooth.
sure, sure.
Anyway, guys, we
Anywho,
have some.
well,
Let's see.
yeah,
What is the rundown? I sent the copy
you
to
did.
you.
All right. I will
You
I will read off what you sent us. Okay, what we have for you know what? I actually didn't open the YouTube or link a dink. I'm not even on YouTube's because
we
that'd
have
be the best
four.
round one. Ba-ba-ba.
Four good
And
topics,
due process, maybe?
right? Maybe. But I sent the
The state
copy
of
to
the
you.
union. Okay, so we first up we got due process with a question mark. We have next up we'll have the Supreme Court 9-0 topic. We got the Facebook papers, which I know next to nothing about, so just be informing me as well, because I am days behind on so many things, but I'm also caught up on a couple of things. So that's how that's going. And then last but not least, we'll be talking about the um, anti-oligarchy tour or the fighting oligarchy tour, Heroes Tour. Okay,
It's,
hell yeah.
it's
And
pretty
hmm?
goosebumps. Their tour just top to bottom gives me goosebumps.
Oh, it's so good. And it's not them running for office, right? They're having such big crowds, and we'll talk about it more later. But I just want to say before we get going that look, peoples, we know, we understand the world's falling apart right now, especially the America side of the world. Um,
Right.
it's horseshit. It's terrible. We all get it. To our international friends, as in Nacha as well. We're sorry. Collective, we're sorry. Um, it's just a fucking wild ride. But our final topic tonight is to talk about who's fighting back, how, who's being effective, and it's some hope. Right. And I didn't think I'd have a show with any hope for a while. Maybe that's why we didn't have a show. I don't know. We've been busy. We've been really busy. Christy's been moving. I've I'm just in constant motion. Um, and I'm probably taking a new job soon too. So that's crazy. And like Nacha is too. It's like we're all just stupid busy. So we're doing our best. If you guys haven't caught it, I've been posting a few shorts on my Gray Skeptic YouTube channel just to try to keep up a little bit, to be doing something, making some content, but they are shorts. And Christy's been looking great and keeping up on everything, sending me links all the time. And I am not keeping up with all of her links, but I did watch the one that you sent me, that like last one that you were like, tonight, gotta do. And we'll mention that as well. So I don't know where we should do that. We should do that in this topic. That's
Okay,
related to this, isn't it? Yeah.
due process.
Cool. Okay, so we'll end with that. So if you want to go ahead,
Yes.
jump in.
My I do
Love 'em.
have something to read to you guys for the due process. I find it to be very informative, and I couldn't have put it in better words. So, to date, what the record shows is that nothing has been done, nothing, U.S. District Judge Paula Zenas has said. And what she's talking about is that this judge has now launched inquiries into Trump's administration refusing to seek return of wrongly deported man. Greenbelt, Maryland is where we're going to start this. A federal judge ordered an intense 2-week inquiry into Trump's administration's refusal to seek the return of a man who was wrongly deported, a clerical error Trump's own people had stated in front of the judge for the reason he was deported. He sent to the notorious slave labor torture camp in El Salvador. And to date, what the records show, like I quoted in the beginning, is that nothing has been done. Nothing. Zenas, the court order, sets up a high stakes sprint that may force senior Trump administration officials to testify under oath about their response to court orders requiring them to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. Each day that passes, the judge noted, is another day that Abrego Garcia spends improperly detained in a maximum security mega prison. Quote, we're going to move. There will be no tolerance for gamesmanship or grandstanding, end quote, the judge said. Goes on, there are no business hours while we do this. Cancel your vacations, cancel all other appointments. I'm usually pretty good about things like that in my court, but not this time. So I expect all hands on deck. The court's inquiry is the latest chapter in an escalating clash between the executive and judicial branches over Abrego Garcia's illegal deportation last month. Oh, it's so sad. The judge previously ordered the administration to, quote, facilitate his release from the custody of El Salvador. And the Supreme Court then upheld that directive last week. Immigration and Homeland Security officials have acknowledged that they sent Abrego Garcia to El Salvador erroneously in violation of a 2019 court order that barred our government from deporting him to El Salvador, especially. And he was barred from being deported there because of the risk that he would be targeted by local gangs that he fled. But the administration has apparently taken no steps to bring him back. Instead, Trump administration officials have claimed that they have absolutely no power to do so. Now that he's under the jurisdiction of El Salvador, the judge called that refusal stunning, even as she agreed that there is a legitimate legal debate about her own power to order U.S. officials to make a request their counterparts. In a written order granting, quote, expedited discovery. So the discovery is going to be what is going to put them fully underwater because they're not going to have anything. The judge said this expedited discovery of 4 senior officials from the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State will have to sit for depositions by April 23rd. Essentially, out of court interviews in which the officials will have to answer questions under oath from Abrego Garcia's lawyers. Those officials include Joseph Mazzara, the acting general counsel at Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and Michael Kozak, the senior official in the State Department's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs. The judge's discovery order also allows Abrego Garcia's lawyers to pursue additional fact-finding steps, including asking the government for relevant documents they have about this case. Their reasoning: the department attorney, Drew Ensign, argued that a joint appearance in the Oval Office Monday by President Donald Trump and President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador demonstrated that the issue had been raised with the, quote, highest authority in that country, and there was no hope of getting Abrego Garcia back. The judge then noted that Bukele's comments came in response to a question from a journalist, not a U.S. official. She also scoffed at Bukele's dismissive comment that he could not smuggle Abrego Garcia back into the U.S. The judge called Bukele's answer non-responsive as a legal matter. The Trump administration's decision to lean on that exchange, she said, underscored the need for her to press for sworn testimony and discovery, aka more facts. The Justice Department appears likely to throw up a series of legal obstacles to the depositions, including claims of confidentiality for executive branch discussions and legal advice. Ensign objected to fact-finding by the court, and he asked the judge to give the administration more time to appeal their interpretation of the scope of the U.S. government's obligations. However, judge said that the Supreme Court had made very clear that the U.S. government was obliged to work to release Abrego Garcia from custody in El Salvador. Quote, "I'm cleaving as closely as one can cleave to the Supreme Court," the judge told Ensign. "There is, in my view, nothing to appeal. Now, get to the facts," end quote. Abrego Garcia, a native El Salvadorian, entered the U.S. without authorization around 2011, when he was about 16 years old. He was fleeing gang violence, his lawyers have stated many times. Before being deported last month, he was living in Maryland with his wife and children, all U.S. citizens. He has no criminal record, neither here or there, and was employed as a sheet metal worker and a member of the union. Trump administration has contended that he is a member of the violent Salvadorian gang MS-13. Oh, I should do an MS-13 episode one time because they really took off here in the United States. That's where they got their fuel, but neither here nor there. Then citing, yeah, it's very interesting. They're mostly prison gangs, but like I said, neither here nor there. That he was a violent Salvadorian gang member of the MS-13, citing an immigration court proceeding from 2019. The court has called the evidence of any gang affiliation extraordinarily flimsy. It amounted to a tip from a confidential informant, anonymous, and the fact that Abrego Garcia wore a Chicago Bulls attire, if you will. On Tuesday, I have Chicago Bulls attire. On Tuesday, the White House escalated its rhetoric about Abrego Garcia. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, she should just leave it all and just leave. But Caroline Leavitt accused Abrego Garcia of being, quote, engaged in human trafficking, which just came out in the sign of her goddamn face because nobody had heard this before. She just made it up out of whole cloth right there. Although he hasn't been charged with any crime whatsoever, let alone human trafficking, and there's no evidence has been publicly disclosed to support anything like that allegation. Leavitt also mocked press coverage of the case, saying reporters were suggesting that he should be nominated for Father of the Year because there's nothing like the ad-homs and logical fallacies that spew out their mouth. Also, this past Tuesday, the administration revealed a new position about what it would do if Abrego Garcia were released from the El Salvador prison and sent back to the United States. Mazzara, ICE's acting general counsel, said in a court filing moments before the hearing that the U.S. government would immediately detain Abrego Garcia again. The government would then deport him to another country or seek to terminate the 2019 court order that barred his deportation to El Salvador. A lawyer then for Abrego Garcia, Rena Gandhi, told the court and the judge that the Trump administration is stonewalling in the face of clear court orders to facilitate her client's return. Quote, the government has not even unambiguously requested his return, Gandhi said, adding that the United States frequently makes such entreaties when in immigration cases. The government routinely seeks return by taking low-level actions outside the United States policy that do not implicate foreign policy. And I do want to say, how easy was it for Trump to want Tate, disgusting Tate, back from Romania and facilitated it? Think about that. Nobody wanted him here. This guy, everybody wants him back. It's just, I mean, I do want to say, in the written order granting expedited discovery, the judge said 4 senior officials from the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State will have to sit for depositions. I told you that by April 23rd, essentially out of court interviews. So that part that I read, that's so interesting because they will be under oath. These hearings take 6 to 9 hours of sitting and being drilled by people under oath, and they will have to present their discovery, aka their facts. It's not going to hold up. We know it's not going to hold up, but every day that he's in there is a day that he may never be seen again, especially with what I sent Mac not too long ago. There are satellite pictures of this prison from when it was first built, from when they broke ground. Investigators and sleuths have not been able to find any kind of blueprints for this place to see from the aerial shots, what is what. However, there is a yard that is empty in most satellite pictures, but as of yesterday, it is filled with blood and looks like a pile of bodies. And I'm not being hyperbolic. That's what the picture looks like. And if it is that, it's an entire different situation right now. It is known as the prison where nobody gets out in El Salvador. Anyone who's gone in has never gone out. And people can't see their family members. There are people that wait outside those doors every day crying for their family members that have been disappeared in El Salvador. So Trump is paying the Bukele government $25,000 per prisoner, which is cheaper than the $55,000 to keep them in a maximum prison here, which they couldn't be in. They're not criminals. It would be immigration. So the whole thing is fucked. So yeah, that's what I got about due process.
It is quite fucked. So someone asked in the chat.
Yes.
See if I can pull it back up here. If we've heard anything from Ben Holland. And the last update I have is from AP. And that was at 8:12 today. It just says that he's spoken to the vice president, Felix Ulloa. I could be butchering that. But other than that, it just says things like, why is the government of El Salvador continuing to imprison a man where they have no evidence that he's committed any crime, and they have not been provided any evidence from the United States that he has committed any crime. They should just let him go, right? That's Ben Holland. Just statements that are good, but no new news.
El Salvador, right?
I'm sorry?
He's the senator that went to El Salvador today.
Who's there now? Yeah.
Okay, so the update on him was they would not let any American official that was there with him see this prisoner. Know that he's alive, talk to him, see him, confirm life.
Yeah. So I mean,
let's see, I will send it to you. I will put that video with the photo of the bodies and the blood. I will put that in the chat. So other people can. Because holy shit. I mean, I was shaking. My hands were shaking. Looking at these satellite photos, they go from like, looking from above and it looks like a prison. Not a good feeling, but it looks like a prison. And then just yesterday, photos from Google Earth showing blood. I just, I don't know what to make of this photo. I don't. These photos are very unnerving. And if we got them today, if Kyle Kalinske sent them or posted about it today, that means intelligence saw it before us, obviously. And that would be a good reason why senators in the House or the Senate have been like, we got to fucking go down there, because
Yeah.
they're seeing that we will see eventually or never see.
Right.
It's just, yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, this is quite a pickle that we're in over here. Yeah, I honestly just don't really have words for it. And I hate to say it. Um, I almost feel like desensitized to it. Like this
That's
just
scary.
another thing, you know. That's terrible. That's part of the worst part about
Israeli
it.
Israel's society is so desensitized over decades and decades of that's the way their government works. They
Yeah.
can just take somebody. They can just disappear somebody. They can do all those things, and it's just regular. If you're Palestinian, you go in front of court martial. You go in front of a military court. If you're a citizen, you go to civil court. And so they're so used to it that when this last thing escalated, this whole genocide, it's to them, it's just like another thing. And unfortunately, a lot of people are feeling the way you're feeling. And I wouldn't say it's apathy per se, I would say it's almost numbness because of how fast it's happened. 3 months, and we're just disappearing people into a death camp. Well, what else could it be? I mean, I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope tomorrow new evidence comes out and says they actually hunt. These are the deers. We couldn't really see them in the pictures. This is the blood. I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy. I'm still trying to find more info, and all I'm finding is the same thing that you said, right? He couldn't secure a meeting uh with Kilmar Garcia. And yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't even
Um,
let him talk. Like he couldn't. They have like most of you have seen movies where people are in prison and they're talking to their loved ones. I know in Tampa where we lived, a jail called Falkenberg, if you went in to visit someone, you would go into a little room where there's little booths, and you would pick up the phone and talk to someone who would come see you. Or when you're in Orient, which is another jail, they're together. They just are separate. It's the same jail, same people, same everything. And that one, you will sit down, and there's a little laptop that you can't touch. It's in front of you, and so you can't even see your loved ones in person. They're in jail, and you're there at the jail, but you're in a room talking to a screen with them talking to a screen. So they wouldn't even let him do that. There was nothing to confirm life.
yeah.
And if I'm seeing these things from people that I trust, like Kyle Kalinske, I know his wife is freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm. And I don't know if you saw the guy, I can't remember his name. I will find it and share it if anyone is interested. It is the leader of the trade union that this guy who's been disappeared is a member of, and he is speaking, and he says, it's not left or right, it is American, and you don't call Elon when you want, a brand new like data center built. You call us. You don't call Elon when he names a few things. It was a really good speech. And then he said, and we demand our brother, and he says his name back now. And the entire fucking auditorium stands up clapping. These are regular Blue Cross color, America, the heart, the backbone of America. They want him back. He's a member of their union. So they picked a really shitty hill to die on. They could have, like, I think Kyle said it best. If they went after people that, he beat up an old lady, and then when he got released, he did it again, and like something really horrible. Unfortunately, I think due process is standard. I don't Hannibal Lecter, fictional, yes, but he would have got due process. Like everyone, Ted Bundy got due process. It's just, yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I have a sick
So,
feeling in my every day.
yeah. Something related to this. I think something that we need to do, right? Because we're also about solutions here. Um, so I have here near home in Stryker, Ohio, we have something called a CCNO. It's the Correction Center of Northwest Ohio. And local commissioners and like sheriffs voted in order to make this also a detention center for ICE.
Mm,
This happened about a month ago,
mm,
and our local sheriff voted for that. A guy who just got voted in, like a guy I
mm,
know.
mm,
Um, yeah. Um, what's to say here? In just over a month's time, allowing ICE to incarcerate immigrants at this facility has proven to be financially lucrative.
mm, mhm.
ICE pays CCNO $117 per person per day, and it costs about $74 a day for CCNO to house them. So CCNO profits about $44 per person, or a grand total of about $84,000 since it started accepting inmates last month.
Yep. And you want to
Uh,
really
hmm?
sickening on that topic? People that are making killings in stocks right now are private prisons and war machine makers like Lockheed Martin. They're making a killing. You invest in Geo Group, you're gonna, yeah. I mean, I couldn't look at my kids and say, "Mommy gets to retire," but it's all because these people didn't get due process. Like, how do you live with yourself? How do you do
Yeah.
that? Mm,
So, um, what I want to just say quickly, I'm saving this link for my own notes later, um, is that find the prisons in your area and see if they are um, being used as ICE detention centers, and if so, see who made that decision. See if that's someone you can work, right? A sheriff in your area, uh, a commissioner, mayors, right? Like if we're right, and and I hope we're not, but if this prison to El Salvador is being used as a death camp, then we need to take action to make sure that ICE isn't picking people up from our local communities when we know where they're taking them, right? Human chains, protests, like whatever we need to do, we need to go. And maybe that's not
mm,
just to the prisons. Maybe that's to your local police department. Like you're obstructing justice, right? Talk to local lawyers. What can we do to force our police force to enforce the fucking law? Right?
mm,
Not just American law, but like international law. Like, what can we do? How can we hold them accountable? I don't know what we can do. I don't have an answer for you. But if you feel like doing something, I think this is where we start. This is where we fight ICE. You need to find where they're holding them at a local level and figure out who's making the decisions. And I know who to go to here.
Yeah.
So I just need to
It's
figure
even
out how to organize it.
40 years ago, there was no ICE, there was no Homeland Security. These are new institutions. We
Yeah.
didn't need them before our civil liberties got taken away, and we definitely don't need them after. Yeah, I know the next topic actually kind of piggybacks off that. It's just the same exact topic. Our Supreme Court, uh, the lower court said you have to return him. Period. You have to facilitate him getting back here. And because they weren't doing anything, it actually went to the Supreme Court pretty fast. And the Supreme Court, unanimous, which never happens, said that on deporting people en masse, you can. However, every person per our Constitution gets, deserves, and is entitled to due process, habeas corpus. This is what our laws state as a fact. Though if we live by these laws, if these people have pledged their loyalty to this Constitution, then they should follow it. We all know that. It doesn't mean that they're doing it. This 9-2 decision, or 9-0 decision, not just being unanimous that they have to give due process. When Bukele was in the Oval Office, man, it just had my skin crawling. The coolest dictator is what he calls himself.
Cool.
He's ruined the economy. Every like a preschool program, everything like that has been ripped away from them. They have nothing. Not that they had a lot, but they have
Yeah.
nothing. It all away. Crypto is the main currency. It's just he's made a dystopia there. And this guy says he couldn't. When asked in the Oval Office that he couldn't. There's no way that he would smoke. How could he smuggle a terrorist into the United States? And I'm like, that's not what was asked of you. They were asked about this guy. Didn't you just fly here? Couldn't you have just brought him with you? And of course, he doesn't hear that. He answers questions. He answers questions that weren't asked. Like Trump. Trump will be asked a question and he says something totally different. Same tactics. And then a journalist in the room said, well, what about this 9-0? And of course, Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi. I apologize for Pam Bondi. She comes from the area I'm from here in Florida. She was a
Way to
piece of
go,
shit
Christy.
here.
Way to go.
Yeah, she's a piece of shit. Let me just say, she's a horrible person and a bootlicker. And Stephen Miller says actually the 9-0 was in our favor, that we have the right to deport him, even if he was brought back. We have the right to deport him the very next day. That's not what was said. And he knows, as Trump knows, as people like Bukele know, their supporters are not going to look into this. They're going to spew the words that they just heard as a fact. And that is, fortunately for us in this country, not what a lot of people are doing. They're going, but I just read it and it didn't say anything like that. And if you want to keep up on these court cases, subscribe to Midas Touch. They're breaking them down. These are the civil rights lawyers, I've said this before, that are on the ground fighting these. These are the lawyers that are in these courtrooms. And they're treasures. They are national treasures, every single one of them. And I love
Yeah.
Popak. He's phenomenal. He breaks it down, and it might be dry because it's legal stuff, but if you want it broken down almost in real time, what's happening, here's what it says, here are the actual court, this is what it says in there, let me tell you what that means, and not legalese. It's really, really a treasure trove of information for us right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, I want to mention another thing before we move on. I think before we move on, let me look at our list again, because if it just goes to the next. Okay, no, it doesn't. Okay. So this shit here is so fucking crazy, right? We're breaking like human rights laws, we're breaking law itself to send these immigrants to a country that they like aren't have never been a part of, to a prison where they can never escape, right? Like this is some pretty whacked out shit. Um, Trump should absolutely be arrested and his administration. Like they should be held in contempt of court. They should be arrested. Um, and if they're not, like I know what it sounds like, but I feel like it needs to be said, right? Um, in democracies and civilized society, you don't want to go after your political opponents. You don't want to do that. It looks bad. Um,
Yeah.
it sets a bad precedent, but also breaking international law over and over again, and just ignoring international law, like we have been for what's going on in Palestine and Israel. This shit's insane. We have no standing anymore in the world. I feel like the only way we get standing back in the world, the only way we get order, law and order, right? Back in the fucking world is when the Democrats get back in power. They have the fucking iciest, strongest spine that they can fucking have. And they go after these motherfuckers. We don't need to try them here in America. Maybe we just, without due process, just give them to the fucking UN. Throw them in the Hague, right? Let them have their day in court over there. They're war criminals, right? That we don't even need to try them for our due process. Just give them to someone else. This is fucking insane, right? And we want to practice principled politics. I talked about this today. Thank you for your comment, Christy, by the way. Um, we don't want to do the same shit that the bad guys are doing. We don't want to do that. We don't even want to do that if they make us do that. But again, we can find workarounds. We can be smart about it. When they're breaking international laws, we send them away to go through that due process, right? And when it's something this bad, it shouldn't be just in our hands anymore. They're fucking with people from other countries. We're fucking around with other countries. We have no moral standing in the world. And how we fix that is we hold ourselves accountable, meaning we hold our leaders to account. And we don't fucking do that by doing it ourselves. Oh, Israel's causing human rights atrocities. Israel will take care of it. Oh, the US is um, breaking international laws and their own laws for due process. And they're immigrants from other countries in fucking death camp. If that's the case, right? If that's the case, be generous.
Right.
We don't need to fucking handle that shit. We need to let someone else handle it to show that we believe in human rights, international human rights, and that we believe in the due process of law internationally for everyone, including ourselves. That's how it has to fucking go. And we need to push for that because no one's having that conversation right now.
Right.
But it needs
One of
to start happening.
the ways that they're getting away with it, or that they're attempting to get away with this, is yes, the courts are a check on the executive branch. Obviously, these federal courts is what they do. However,
Yeah.
once over international waters, our federal courts have no jurisdiction over foreign policy. That's under the executive branch's purview. And that's what they're stating However, they're forgetting all the laws that come before that do apply to that they have to get through first.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
look, yeah, it's setting precedent. It is setting precedent for President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to just have Trump and Stephen Miller fucking arrested and deported to the Netherlands. Right?
hey,
And be like,
actually,
oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot the whole due process thing, but it's out of my hands now. Oh God, dear God. I hope they go easy on. I hope they don't get thrown in the Hague.
we
But
have a really good comment by Jen. We need to do protests like the French. Listen, I bow down to they will protest over adding a penny to their subway fees. They don't play. They'll shut that city down because that last yellow vest protest was because a penny was being added to every token for public transportation, but they weren't taxing the wealthy. The wealthy don't use it. So the city threw a fit and shut down, and they took that away, and they got it from the rich because that's how the French do. They're not playing. You are so right about that. Yes, yes, yes. I mean,
yeah,
yes, yes, yes. I do. Andrew Jackson also defied the courts.
yeah,
And when the court told him, you have to stop, you have to reverse, you have to do this, he said, that's great. The court had a ruling. Now let them enforce it. And
yeah.
our Vice President, JD Vance, has recited this recently, saying, this is where they're at. Listen here. That means it's up to the people, which is terrifying. How many people are
Mhm.
going to be arrested and beaten and disappeared before we fix this? A lot. But to not do it is not an option. Is not an option.
Right. And
Yeah.
we just need to find good ways to fight this. Um,
All legal and peaceful.
all legal and peaceful, right?
Yes.
Um, this is there's so much to go over. There's no I don't even know if we're gonna have time to go through all of our topics tonight.
Well, we don't have to do Facebook papers tonight. We can do that. I'm sure it just dropped this week. I just started reading the woman's book that is the whistleblower. Listen,
Mhm.
Mike Zuckerberg has been fining her $50,000 every time she says the word Facebook. He can't, he's not the government.
Right.
This isn't done every single thing. Josh Hawley, who ran from the January 6 people and then also gave his fist, that Josh Hawley reamed him out that he's a traitor, that these are all this stuff were things that you were here in a hearing before stating this, but now this is coming out with receipts saying that you were lying. You're lying. Like, I'm like, okay, Josh Hawley, I see you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Mark Zuckerberg was never on the right until he's about to go in front of federal courts to have his businesses broke the fuck up because they're a monopoly. And so he donated all this money to Trump, hoping that this isn't going to be the reality that he lives in. But then this whistleblower just said, I can't take it anymore. I have to. And she is so brave. So I mean, we don't have to do Facebook papers tonight. We can move on to the oligarchy tour because we're gonna have a lot to talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's ah. Oh, okay. I sorry, I just saw this thing. Okay. Um, well, is there anything else we need to say on this topic? I mean, I would not be surprised if we bounced back to this. Meaning due
Right.
process. It's
Yeah, it's everything right
just
now. It's
yeah,
terrifying what little thing that cements a you might have problems in a nation, but knowing that even if a corrupt government says you did something, you would still have due process. You would still be able to have a jury of your peers state, go through discovery and all the facts and see it for what it is. And that's, oh, and then our vice president saying, so what? We're just supposed to give every single one of these 20 million illegal aliens an OJ trial and have the taxpayers pay for that? I'm like, wow. Like I said, they're answering questions that were asked to them. Nobody asked that. And immigration courts are not that. That was a defense team of hundreds of millions of dollars paid for by a professional athlete. These wealthy people have these type of trials because they can afford them. Immigration court isn't like that. It's streamlined and it's underfunded and understaffed on purpose so that the backlog is tremendous. And all we've been asking at LEAH when it comes to immigration is to fill all those spots. We need immigration lawyers. We need immigration judges. We need them to actually have these positions so that our immigration will be safer. Yes.
Even I've come to the to to the negotiation of saying, hey, why don't we use our military, our overinflated budget, and how we're in every goddamn country? Why don't we just bring them all back home, right?
Mhm.
Get out of all these other countries and just have them all fucking guard the border. Just make a ring around the fucking country, the best we can, right? Defend our borders, because being in other people's lands, defending assets isn't quite the same as self-defense, right? Let's just defend our borders, right? And maybe we could have more legal points of entry if we did that. That would be wonderful. I'd like that, right? If we're gonna keep this military budget up, or and have the manpower that we have all over the goddamn globe, right? I feel like that's a little bit more of a right-wing position, but I'd be much better with that than the shit we're doing now abroad, right? I can negotiate a little bit, right? Um, but seriously, the Rice just lost their goddamn mind. Right? There is no reasonable, real conversation with anyone with power to be had right now. But remember, what we talk about here is what you talk about with your friends, your family, your coworkers, your community. People who don't have power, who need to understand how power works and how to understand how decisions and policies are made. Right? We need to talk to our neighbors about, cool, you want to defend our border. How about we take our military, men and women, from the 8, 900, 1,000 outposts that we have abroad, bring them all home to defend the border. Why don't we do that? Why don't we make this an America first topic? Because that will fucking make sense to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you need to get people in your community closer to making fucking sense, because we're losing all logic, all common sense. We're losing so much America first in this country, right?
It's not
Like,
anymore. We're at the bottom of it.
yeah,
Like Kyle had, it's not a slippery slope into fascism anymore. We're at the bottom of that slope. The fuck are we gonna do now?
yeah. When we're left with our own cute little play money that no one wants to play with anymore, fuck us, right? Like, um, we're becoming very isolationist very fast, and that can be seen as nationalist. But we don't help our people at the same time, right? There are some socialist nations that are very isolationist, and I don't like that, right? I want to play well with others. Um, it's better. It's better for multiple communities, countries, markets. Um, that's just human nature, right? You can't do everything on your own. Bring it back to the individual level, right? Like the Republicans and the right always fucking does, right? They want to say, you're an individual. You should be able to work for, um, your employer and make as much money as you want, and then you spend your money however you fucking want to. But you can't do everything. You need to play with other kids on the playground in order to make more marbles,
Definitely.
right? And when you take everyone's fucking marbles because like you punched a third of the kids in the face and just fucking took them, and now you have the most marbles, right? You took all the goddamn resources, and everyone realizes that, like, wow, he has all the marbles. He's really cool until you're a stingy little asshole, even to your friends, and they're like, you know what? We don't want to play with marbles anymore. We're trading.
Yeah,
We're trading Pokemon cards that are made by the Japanese or the Chinese.
right. I mean, we always say there's such thing
And
as
then
a
fuck you to your
moral,
marble.
that scenario just sums it up. There is no such thing as a moral billionaire. The things you have to do to workers, the things you have to do to your friends or so-called friends. I mean, just look at Mark Zuckerberg. He stole the Facebook. It was made to check out
Oh,
girls. Like, yeah, it's
yeah.
you're not a good person. There's just no way. And I'm not saying they're all have to be evil villains, but there's just I things I couldn't do to my fellow humans so that I had $1 billion. I just even if I didn't know them, would never know them, would run into them. I couldn't like what he's doing, what Elon is doing to the area in Texas where he launches SpaceX is devastating. There's a great couple episodes on
Underfoot
oh no
is a good
my
guess, though,
goodness,
right?
it's a very union think of it. I'll think of it in a second because I'm always
Okay.
watching Occupy Democrats.
Occupy
It's
Democrat. Oh, they're
yeah,
wonderful.
they
That's,
talk about
I feel like that's a hashtag that we just need to fucking go with. Occupied.
I
I, I like the things that they post, and I like their fucking name. Like that's the kind of messaging we need to have all the time, right? It's not blue no matter who. It's maybe new blue no matter who. Like fucking primary all of them. Like, um, all right. That said, we really do need to move on because I'm gonna feel really bad if we only get through this topic, which we turned into like three topics. Um, so again, please figure out who your and we are going to switch topics now, Natcha. But
I was
what?
wrong. More
Yeah.
Perfect Union is who did it, and I will put it in the chat. We went to the town Elon Musk took hostage. It will blow your mind. So I'll put that in the chat right now. More Perfect Union is the one. I love their work. They go hard on workers' kitchen table issues.
I
And
will.
I put it,
They they have a hard on for workers.
same. I got a big willy for my workers.
Big workers.
I love that Bernie said, I've been watching Bernie and AOC, so I'm glad that's our last topic. I love that he said Elon Musk, Trump, Zuckerberg, Bezos, he named a couple others. They might be the 1%. They are the 1%. And
Yeah,
then he said, we're the 99%. And the crowd fucking lost their mind. It's so simple. It's true. For every one of them, there's hundreds of thousands of us.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hundreds
Um,
of thousands.
that's so nuts. Um, okay, so we are switching topics.
We'll switch topics, Mr. Nacha, and we'll just not do the Facebook papers. I'll do a
Which
better
is
job
just
of topic next week because
it's
I'm
not, it's
sure
not
it
your
will.
fault. I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The last one fits right in with the first two. So, and
Yes.
Facebook papers would take at least 30 minutes, 20 minutes to
At
for
least.
us talking going through it. And that's just what we have right now. And like 3 or 4 more days, I'm gonna have so much more. So and
Yeah.
by then it will be CNN and everything. So it's already been a little bit. They've had her on CNN, and they've had her in front of her hearing. Her Facebook hearing is mind blowing. She literally just says the things that most people think is not decorum in the House getting in a hearing. She just says them. No,
Who
those are
knows?
lies. The whistleblower for the Facebook group.
Gotcha. 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 Gotcha.
She knows, and she
Um,
brought receipts, the thumb drives that she got out of there. Like, think of the biggest encyclopedia if they printed them up. That's just the tip of the iceberg, how much stuff she got out of there for our Congress to see. And there are many questions that our representatives ask her where she says, I will answer that in the whatever it's called. It's when there's no cameras because it has to do with national security. Yes, a lot of those. Yes. So we'll know more in a few days. It's so juicy. Not in a good way. It's happening, but I love that she came out. I love it. Yes. Oh, just a quick little teaser about it. You know how free speech is such a big thing? And when a government
bad.
calls or messages Facebook and says something down, we all hate it because, like, if it's wrong, post why it's wrong right attached to it with examples to go to. I mean, it's not that hard, right? Well, our country did, some of those. We're not even in the top 20 of countries who do it. The country who does it the most is Israel. And our country does it to us because it's America's citizens. Israel does it to other countries more than they do it to their own. How? How? Mark Zuckerberg, how? Yeah, that's all part of the hearings.
Hmm.
I know. I'm
Wow.
like,
Yep. That
hey,
sounds juicy.
how does BB's dick taste? Biden would know. Ask him. Like, it is so bad.
Uh, well,
Teaser.
that's join in next week for the Facebook papers. Sneak. All right. Um, we're on Supreme Court 9-0. We've already kind of touched base on this a little bit, right?
That was the whole thing, the whole spiel.
Yeah.
We went,
Okay.
yeah, from to the other. They kind of go together. That's why this one goes with it too. So
Okay.
AOC, oligarchy.
So are we just moving on to the last one now? Okay.
Definitely.
No, so we can move on. Cool. We're gonna go to the last topic.
And I'm the one that smokes.
Oh.
Don't forget.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Fighting oligarchy. This tour by Bernie Sanders and AOC has been fucking awesome, to use a technical term. They have been rocking it all across the country, in red states and red districts. Basically, Bernie Sanders said, "Hey, um, if you have a Republican congressman who doesn't want to fucking talk to you because the Republican Party said, hey, these town halls aren't working out so well for us. Maybe we should stop doing the town halls." Well, Bernie Sanders said, yeah, about that. I'll come and talk to you. And because of that, they've been bringing in record numbers of peoples to come see Bernie Sanders talk about how oligarchy is bad, which is awesome. Um, they were in Idaho recently. 12,000 fucking people showed up. They went to Salt Lake City specifically. That was 20,000 people. Um, they went to what else we got here? In a city of 85,000 people, in a Republican district, more than 30,000 people came out. And that was a couple of nights ago. I think that was Folsom County, California, just this past Tuesday, which was a day
Yeah,
ago.
been
That
something to watch.
that's amazing. 30,000 people in a district with 85,000 people. There is
Yeah,
hope, friends. Um, and their largest crowd was in Los Angeles, California, right? Probably not red, but but they had 36,000 people. And I want to remind everyone, Bernie's not running for president right now.
they don't
AOC's
need.
maybe they will. Maybe one of them will. Maybe they'll both run a campaign together. We don't know.
If
What,
they
Christy?
ran president, if like they ran as president and vice president, the entire country would it would be a landslide.
Yeah, it would be fucking insane. Like
Landslide.
Trump would have to try to assassinate him.
Well,
That's the only thing.
in New York, who voted at the top of the ticket for Trump, and right underneath him, AOC, because they want fucking change. They want some sort of change,
Yeah.
even if you break it.
Now, what if they put Trump, AOC, and Bernie Sanders is also VP for AOC, right? Like Trump's not going to have chance then. There's going to be too many people like, I don't know. I like how Trump talked, but I also like how these two talk. So I'm going to go with these two because I didn't like the tariffs. They kind of fucked me, right? Like I
I feel
think
like
that's the kind of shit that would happen.
he's kind of looking around and thinking, I'm not going to be around for a long time. And I
Yeah.
have to pick someone as, that's going to pick this fight up and fight it how I feel is the moral way to fight it, not that won't lick boots, that won't bow, that won't bend, that will keep us a backbone and remember her goddamn roots. Yes, you bartender. That's why they tell you bartenders, they don't need to be in Congress. They don't qualify for. They even told her you were just a bartender. Go. Are you kidding me? This regular working people know more about regular working people. That's who we want in there.
Right.
They're called
Yeah.
representatives, supposed to represent their people. Like, oh,
So
Jasmine, don't even get me started about her.
Crockett, yeah, Crockett's awesome. She's
Yeah,
she's bringing all the sass that the Democrats
right.
need, just all of it. She's carrying for the whole goddamn party.
Yeah,
So, but even though she's carrying all the sass that we need for the Democratic Party, we still need to kick out all the fuckers that she's carrying sass for,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everyone needs to
She is.
bring their own like mid-level sass.
We need more like her and what's the beautiful brown boy from Florida. He was part of Parkland. Josh something.
I don't
Uh,
remember his name.
Frost. His last name's Frost. You'll look up Frost, Representative Frost from Florida. He was on stage
Maxwell.
with Bernie. Yes,
Maxwell.
and Coachella. He was on stage with Bernie at Coachella.
Cool. Hell yeah. All right. So, I know you kind of mentioned it. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, probably yesterday. Um, that Bernie Sanders kind of announced like AOC is like his heir apparent, right? And I
Yes,
feel like we've kind of known that for years because she's just the one with the spotlight that speaks a lot like him. Um, and she has that connection, right? She actually kind of gets to like experience him as a personal mentor. That's
right.
pretty great. All right, and I do want to just like caveat there are ways in which AOC can improve, right? No one's perfect. We get that. She should have spoken out on Gaza much earlier. She's much more outspoken about it now. We appreciate it. You're a little late to the party, but we appreciate that Bernie and AOC are there. Um, um, but Bernie's let us down a couple times before too, right? Let's be honest, right?
Yeah. There's no
These
perfect
people,
person. He's just a human. So I don't have, I don't have that. Like he's on this pedestal. He's just a human. There's so many things I don't know about, and I don't have a life as busy as. So
right?
also you want someone where all if you do the pros and cons, the
Yeah,
cons just keep going, or someone who has a con or two, and the rest are all pros. Like I'm
yeah,
sure I have things that people are like, if only she didn't do that. It doesn't mean that they don't like me. So
right. Here,
yeah,
I have a really good example of this.
I
This is
Bernie does inform himself though. He might not do it right then, but he won't talk about it again until he says, that was then and things are different now. Or not everyone's perfect.
yeah. Okay, if you guys didn't catch this, I'm gonna give you my screenshot. I'm gonna hold it up because I'm terrible at doing a show. Here you
Yeah,
go. All right, we
yes,
got Owen Jones and we got Anel Sheline. I think it's how you say her name. Um, I'm trying to remember. She's a lawyer, I think a human rights lawyer. I'm sorry. I don't remember exactly what she does, but the point is you can go watch Owen Jones' channel with his interview with her. It was like the last day or so. It was fantastic. She had a lot of great things to share, but one thing that stuck with me that I wanted to share tonight is that she said, like, yeah, I mean, there was like she was pointing out the hope that there's so many people who cared about Gaza that um, couldn't vote for Kamala Harris because we didn't think that she'd be any better. And then we said, well, like, how can you say that? Like, look at what Trump's doing now. Kamala would have done better than this. And as a human rights lawyer, if I remember right, she's pointing out, like, yeah, I mean, like, hard pressed to say that. Like, I think it'd be just as bad. We need to reality check even people like this who are on our side. Kamala Harris would have done better than Trump on
uh,
Gaza.
you I might disagree with you. I feel like the last 30 to 40 years, to me, has proven that on foreign policy, both parties are about 95% alike. On
Yeah.
domestic policy, they are different.
Mhm.
And that really fucking sucks because what you put out in the world will come home. You put fascism out in the world, well, look where we're at.
Yeah. So there's two things I have to say on that. There's one, and to caveat, I'm like I was bummed that Owen Jones didn't push back on that. Um,
Right.
like I know Kamala would not have been good
Right.
on this, good enough. She wouldn't have been good enough, but we would not
No.
have gotten the president of the fucking United States tweeting out Trump's Gaza #1 fucking song.
Yeah, you're
We
right.
wouldn't
You're
have
right.
gotten that. That's normalizing the genocide and celebrating it. Kamala Harris, at worst, would have normalized it, but she didn't meet with Netanyahu.
No.
She she did that, and that was I don't know if you even call it bare minimum, right?
Yeah.
Like we should have arrested him, like on the fucking spot. She wasn't strong enough on that issue, but she wouldn't have tweeted something like that out, right?
Right. Well, we all
He
know
is
now that literally
demonstrably
told Biden literally told her, "Don't you separate yourself from me
no daylight.
until like no daylight." So what is she supposed to do? She literally serves at his pleasure. That's how that works.
Yeah,
It is
it is.
not hers. So she was
Yeah,
between a rock and a place for sure. It'll be analyzed for decades, the whole situation.
sure will. It sure will. And this is the point that I need to make. And this is so important to me. Like I hope we can see eye to eye on this because this is so important for all of the people who watched Jimmy Dore even longer than me, right? Is that Kamala Harris would not have been good enough, most likely, on Gaza, right? AOC, Bernie Sanders, they have they've let us down multiple times. Like there was the whole force the vote thing, right? And that's where Jimmy snapped and he he broke away and then went fucking bonkers bananas. Banana split. I don't know. And but he doesn't give credit where credit's fucking due, right? And that's what we need to do. Maybe AOC is not perfect, but compared to the Republican Party, she's fucking gold, platinum alloy, right? Compared to the rest of Democrats, she's still fucking silver or gold, right? She's amazing. She's right. We have to recognize the best that we have might not be perfect, right?
Yeah.
We can still criticize our own side. That's how I entered politics, right? I found people like Jimmy Dore and June from Shoe on Head and Kyle Kalinske, and they're smashing the Democrats. But at the same time, I didn't get, but the Republicans are better. That's
No, they
that's
called
detached
out.
from reality.
Yeah, they called out the shit on both sides. Doesn't matter who's doing it, if it's
Right.
fraud or like AOC just said, the president is a criminal. He's like literally a criminal. If you think he's not fucking with the stocks, you think he's not doing more fraud, he's been in trouble for fraud his whole life. You think he's not manipulating these things? You think he's not frauding the American people? You're
Yeah.
insane.
I think he needs to be in prison here in the United States, but he needs to be let out on vacation to serve time in The Hague.
Yes.
That's my
Yes.
personal opinion, and we could go into hours of why I think that. And I think most of our audience would just be like, yeah, the whole time. Right?
I can name 5 war crimes that Trump has done between his last administration and now, right off head without thinking about them. So yeah, The Hague, I agree, but I can't think of an American president that hasn't done a war crime. It's
Yeah.
not an
Yeah.
excuse; it's just reality.
Right. And like George W. Bush, like I know it's the
War crime. I don't think that Bernie Sanders. I might be naive, but I don't think that they would just sign off on it. They would just co-sign. I think they would be more apprehensive and maybe nothing would get done with foreign policy because they'd be so scared. I'm okay with that. America first.
way
Let's
better
fix
than what we
things.
have right now. Right?
Yes.
Like so I guess my point is, um, and I'll lead it with how Kyle Kalinske likes to say it. You don't choose your leaders, leaders arise, right?
Yeah.
And the obvious leaders right now are AOC, Bernie, Bernie Sanders, AOC,
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett, Cory Booker. Cory
Yeah.
Booker broke a world record. I have it down here. Um, he stood on the floor of the Senate for
Yeah.
24 hours and 18 minutes. I thought it was 25 hours and 18 minutes. But this is what my
Longer
notes say.
than
But
Marshall.
that's, huh?
Longer than Sherwood Marshall or whatever his name was. The record holder. He
Oh
beat the
yeah,
record.
that's why I had that. Yeah, um because the person he beat, uh Strom Strom
Strong.
Thurmond held a world record for 24 hours and 18 minutes. So I read that wrong because I didn't separate my facts. There, I did. Um,
Not a good.
but Cory Booker was over 25 hours, and
A lot of
that's
it.
amazing, huh?
I listened to a lot of it. I'd say over 9 hours. And
That's
I have problems with Corey. Big, big problems. Not in that area. He's an amazing orator and speaker, and he brought up all the things that I also think are important and should be yelled on the House floor.
Except
However,
Gaza.
so on the same 24 hours, votes against things that I want to strangle him for.
Yeah, right. But what he did was effective, right? I want to
I
give him
agree.
credit where credit is due, right? He is fighting, and he's reaching the moderates, you know, and we can give him a pat on the back for that. What now?
It's performative, and there's always going to be that. I'd rather the performative be what Cory Booker was speaking about and how long and passionately he did it than the person he beat. Don't listen to anything that one was. Oh my God, is
Right. Yeah.
oh.
And, I also wanted to point out the guest speaker that they had, I believe tonight, uh, Sarah Nelson. She's the president of the AFA, CWA, the Association of Flight Attendants, and the Communication Workers of America. It's a
Here,
international.
who's
Huh?
guest? Who's guest?
Oh, I'm sorry. She's a guest speaker for AOC and Bernie Sanders on their fighting
Okay, okay.
oligarchy. Right, that was tonight's. And I listened to her intro because that's all I had time for today. But in her speech, right, leading up to AOC, she called for, she said, we need to prepare for a general strike. That's what,
Agree. There
right?
is
Yeah.
one plan 2028. There's been the 2028 general strike plan for almost 3 years now, because
Yeah.
it takes a while. But I think people are ready.
Yeah.
So we might need to have one before then.
Yeah. There's a good fucking chance. But pay attention, guys. Pay attention because um if they're not coming to a city near you, you need to check it out as soon as it happens. They're posting it on the Fighting Oligarchy Tour or BernieSanders.com.
Yes,
Right? You
that's what
go
I do.
there and they have all of the videos. Hold on, I'll screen share in the worst way. Ba-ba-ba. You can go watch all of the videos everywhere they've
Yeah.
been. Check that out, y'all. Right?
If you
And you can
need a
donate.
little, if you need a little bit of positive, like the news is just shitty, but you're still in a news kind of mood, but you need that that oxytocin, you need, that release of something positive. Definitely listen to any random one of their rallies. The last three have been absolutely excellent.
They've been awesome. And again, just the fact that look at who our leaders are right now. We've been waiting for this, right? People like shit, I can see her face. She was like the head of the DNC like back in like 2014. A real bitcheroony doony. Even she said that like Bernie Sanders was right. Like like, yeah, like his messaging is right. Like that's where we are. Like, yeah, we were there a long fucking time ago, but the Democratic Party might just step the fuck out of the way. I don't
I
want to
mean,
say too prematurely, but they're fucking washed right now,
yeah, not
right?
just that, the ones that are going to make it, the Democrats that are going to make it are the ones that you and I have both been seeing get real progressive lately. I mean, real progressive lately. So it's a good thing.
It is. The dude who we mentioned earlier, Van Hollen, that is
And
effective fighting back. Going down to
I,
fucking El Salvador, that's
yes,
that's the kind of fight we need. So sorry, I was trying to count down how many and I lost track and came back to it. And then I need
Holland,
to go back.
Holland
Go ahead.
has stated that no matter what happens while he's there, he will not stop until he gets him home.
So is he gonna stay there?
Well, I mean, he does have to come back and work. Like he's just not.
Yeah.
He promised his wife, the kids, and her extended family that this is what he'll do. Like
Yeah.
this is the hill chooses to die on. Like
Good.
until he gets him back, this is going to be one of his main jobs.
Right. And I want everyone to realize that um, Garcia is his last name, correct?
Yes.
Garcia. He's representative, right? He's a really good representative of the victims who have been sent there, right?
Mhm.
It's not just him, right? But getting fucking one person out like him is so important to our movement because the horror stories he can tell.
Right.
And he deserves to come home, right? It's not just because it's going to help.
And the gay hairdresser, like
He
the
deserves to.
picture crying and praying while they're shaving his head, nicking him so he's got it's just devastating. These pictures are going to be in history books. Like we are living through the craziest time, not a good time, but it is what history is we're living through tumultuous history right now.
Yeah,
All the things that we see on our nightly news are going to be in Time magazine about this era,
yeah.
decades from when we're little old ladies. Well, you won't be
Um,
an old lady.
um, I wanted to
Maybe.
mention as well,
Mhm.
Cat, Cat. Trying to read her last name, Abu Ghazaleh. I can't say her last name. I'm so sorry. She's running for Congress. Um, and she was awesome. Kyle and
That you heard. I
huh?
remember, and you said just watch that. Yes, it's so good. I
Yeah,
love
I
her too.
haven't
I think
finished that, but
for
just
fun.
saying, just going in and saying that like, hey, I'm running for Congress because Democrats need to grow a fucking spine. Like,
Yes,
yes, use
yes,
language because it gets attention and it's controversial, right? And we we need the eyeballs, right? Say something fucking controversial and
and
then make all your goddamn points, right? Because we
and
have
we,
all of the points.
and we need them to grow fucking spine.
Yeah, just grow a fucking spine. They fucking need to. They don't just need to, they fucking need to. And then who's the
Yeah,
other guy that they just
I've been
interviewed?
following her, and she's been pretty spot on for a while. So
Cool. I have not followed her. She, she seems cool, but also you need to go follow Kat because she is posting her journey through running for Congress. That is so important for all of us. That's important for me.
okay,
I want to do that at some point. Um,
share it in the chat
uh,
so people can share where to follow her. So follow her progress.
yeah, I will. I
So
will look real quick, and I'll put it in the chat, and then if I'll put it in our chat too for Nacha. If you can put that down in our doobly doos down below. I do have.
I think speaking of doobly doo, Frank and Frank's channel and his brother, who I've loved for decades. I feel like it hasn't been that long, but that's what it feels like. Frank and his brother who send the videos back and forth to each other, they don't do political, and they are beside themselves on what needs to be done. So when you start getting science people who are science communicators, talking about is this fascism? Yeah, we took a hard turn somewhere. So thanks for sharing that. See if I'm not already.
Cat for Illinois.com. Illinois, I'm so sorry. Illinois.com. Cat for
Yeah,
Illinois.com.
where you can. Okay, yeah. I thought it was
Yeah.
something like on YouTube or something. No, that's yeah. She's fun to watch. I think
Yeah.
AOC kind of did the template for that. When she ran, she also talked about, she
Impressive.
Instagram, yeah, about what was happening. It's crazy to think AOC's been in Congress now for 7 years. So, I mean,
Which means
it
we're
takes
7 years old because we started about the time she did.
right? That's true. I mean, movements like the civil rights, they take time. They didn't start in the 60s, people were getting arrested in the 50s that were fighting for this movement. People were getting arrested in the 40s and in the 20s for this movement. So it was 1965 when finally every single American could vote. 1965, my mom was 5 years old when every American could vote. So, yeah, we got to fight this. It is, we've seen the history, we read the history, at least I do, of so many countries through an election and a few executive orders and a few policy changes and a few firings can literally deliberalize they're a deliberal nation like Hungary and El Salvador. They call themselves, deliberal democracies, which if you take out all the things that make it a liberal democracy, like due process, it's not a democracy. It's like how China calls themselves the Communist Party of China. They're okay. No, you can call yourself whatever you want. So the democratic, nation of North Korea, and it's just, I guess you can call it whatever you want. It's your actions, and our actions are what has everybody in the streets. April 19th, I think that's a Friday. That's the next nationwide protest. Like all 50 states. So if you follow, the hands off protest, next one's coming right up. Right around the corner. Oh, our democracy is 60 years old this year. Yes, Smitty, think about that. That's crazy. Because if you ask someone like my mom or her mom, I'm sure you're gonna hear, 1776. And yeah. Gosh. Yep, 60 years old this year. And the people who are disenfranchised from voting being only able to vote for the past 60 years is a whole different world, a whole different reality for any of our brothers and sisters who are, poll taxed and diverted, beat up. It's just, we need to have another progressive era, like really bad. We need the Green New Deal really bad. You fucked up. Let's see. Ready? All right. Keep for Illinois. All right. I put it down and saved. I'm actually going to share it with my family in Illinois. Cousins and whatnots. Can't hear you.
Sorry.
Oh no.
No, you're all good. I was gonna say I have a little thing to say. I was gonna say I have something to say. Uh, um, while we were on here, I went ahead and donated to her campaign.
Yes, I
Nine,
can't say that last. That last
huh?
name is ridiculous. That last
Yeah,
name
I
is
can say
ridiculous.
it. Cat
Can't
for
say that.
Illinois, right?
Yes.
Catforillinois.com. Go in there. If you can donate anything at all, even $2, even $1, right? Donate something, right? That helps. If you can only donate a little bit, that helps the average donation rate go down, and that's good for grassroots, right? It's a win-win, no matter what. So please do. I almost donated to Bernie's, but I only did one tonight. So, and I don't do that. I don't do that often at all, right? But she was awesome, and I want you guys to try to do that too. Again, if it's do a buck, right?
Yes, thank you.
Whatever you think.
We did a month to Justice Democrats when it was just a thing you heard
Yeah,
about if you watched Kyle or Jake. Like it wasn't, that's when we
that
started
didn't.
because
Yeah,
we believed so much. And then we kept doing it after we got Ilhan, after we got AOC, just because we were like, yes, more of those. I know Howard Zinn, one of my idols. I just love that human so much. I know he would be so proud of people like Bernie Sanders and AOC and Ilhan Omar, and there's a handful of people who have a backbone, and unfortunately it is a really tough, I'm sure, workplace for them. I'm sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we didn't even get into like insider trading. Like there's so much insider trading going on right now.
Yeah, guys, there's so many hours and days of shit to go through, right? But we know that it's fuck faces. I forget
McIntyre,
what's his name. You know fuckface, right?
Katie
Steve
Van.
Ban- Steve Bannon. He's
Steve,
fuckface now. Um,
oh, his
yeah.
original face.
Not fuckable face. It's not to be confused with fuck. He's just fuckface. Um, that villain over there. Um, yeah, he's he's the worst. Like that's their goal, right? Throw so much at us that we can't ever keep up. Okay, we need to run. Nacha needs to feed himself. And I want to watch him do that. So if we get off soon enough, he promised that we'd be able to watch him eat. No, he didn't, but maybe if we can trick him into it. Um, and we love you guys so much. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Thanks for showing up and stay humanist.
For God's sake.
Thank you.